Divine Sunshine from Divine Unisouls 11, and we are the Playground Experience. I got my co-host here, Kathy D and April Williams. Guess what? We got somebody else on the swings today. Guess who joined us? Jupiter 1111.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, we caught on the swings and we was like, come on, we're going to swing with you today. So today's topic is pushing through the pain. We know that especially with a lot of things that's going on in the world and even with us personally on our twin flame journey, that we have to learn how to push past to get to the other side. It's like break on through to the other side. As far as when we're talking about pain, some of us, as we've read even on social media and even ourselves, have found it's kind of difficult to get past that impasse and think about, to release it and really truly practice forgiveness. And this is the topic that I said that we needed to, Spirit had brought to me that said that we need to get through, because in order for us to truly have union, we have to really understand that we have to let the pain go. We have to let it go so we can be able to flow into our next experience, which is coming together. I love you too. Coming together as one, rather is union with ourselves, with people outside, a union even in our bliss, or getting into our mission as well. Those things, as far as the pain of remembering what things happened to in the past, or even in the now, past relationships, that we have to get to that point of understanding. We have to release. And some of us are really kind of, as Jupiter 11 always put it there, we're used to the devil we know and don't want to get used to a new one at all with the unknown. Helps us not to do that. So I'm gonna start off with Kathy D, and just like kind of give us like mentally, when we're getting past the pain, what are some things, because I know you'd be on social media just like I am, but what are some things that you have seen as far as out there on the twin flame experience about people being kind of hard to kind of get past the pain, some things, and then that's going to help us to understand where we need to work from.
One of the main things is, we're hearing the heartbreak of forgiveness, not wanting, well, he did this to me or she did that to me, and not wanting to let go of that. They're holding on to it like a crutch, like a reason why they shouldn't move forward. That's a lot of it. A lot of it is non-motion, seeing no motion in the 3D or movement. And so then, well, he can just have his, and I don't want him anyway. And maybe he wasn't my twin. And, so we're seeing a lot of either not forgiving and wanting to not let go of that forgiveness, or making the excuses on why they should stay with the DM when we know the 3D is an illusion. But, why they're staying with a karmic instead of coming to them. So that's a lot of what I'm seeing. A lot of people are just tired of waiting. That seems to be the biggest complaint. I've waited and I've waited, and I'm starting to see now. There are years. We're talking major amounts of years. 5. I've seen 117. Some of these are big numbers, and they're still waiting.
Yeah. Jupiter 1111 has not to disclose, but what are some of the things even you're seeing even on the front line, or maybe you have sensed or you've picked up even through your channel? Because I believe that we can define and see what it is, then we can move on and say, now what are the solutions of it? So what are some things that you're seeing?
When I'm recognizing, like, one of the things I'm always saying, clarity is power, right? And it's just what's causing the pain is not having clarity, not the confusion of the different messages that are out, that the twin flame journey is only about mission. And you talked about that, you touched on that in your latest video about DM, and then the part 2 video that you just did, and it's only mission. And so, but knowing that we also want that soul connection, life partner, and almost like saying, well, if you were really ascended, you shouldn't want this other thing, which causes confusion, because you want it and you have that desire. The desire to me has been put there by God. There are people who actually have a desire never to get married, not to partner up that way, but they've been designed that way. So they're not seeking to have that life partnership. And so when you're saying that the twin flame journey is only about mission, it's only about ascension, and then you almost, and then it makes me mad because I'm like, well, your whole business is around love readings. Your whole business is around, your whole business model is around getting people to watch and getting people to book with you. And then when you go to these private sessions or their Patreon, because I do that, I'll go ahead and pay for things to see what people are really doing behind the scenes. And then saying it's not about love, and almost like belittling the fact that you want that piece of your life. And so that is also an imbalance, because if you're not created to be in that kind of dynamic, when it's just really sources is your DM or your DF, and you're really good with it because you're a total piece, and you're really not interested in building that life partnership and that empire with somebody, then it's confusing, because you're like, well, I know it's about ascension, that sounds wise, but my heart is telling me something different. And then I was like, well, if this is also what's mine, then why don't I have it? Not understanding there's like so many different things in the journey. And so when we don't have clarity, we can't move in power, and then it starts having confusion, because you're listening to people who have huge followings, and they seem really wise and they mean well. But what they're doing is that instead of presenting what they believe as a belief system, they start creating like this cult mentality of like, this is what it really is. And if you don't believe it this way, then you're not going to get in union, or the other thing is like, you're not going to ascend if you don't do these practices, if you don't believe this way. And so it's just really confusing. And the more confused you are, then you get hurt, because then you start to look at yourself as though maybe you're not worthy. There's something wrong with you. Why aren't you being loved and accepted? Why doesn't the person, if you're saying all these things that we're so connected, why are they treating me this way? Not understanding the dynamics, even the science behind the twin flame dynamic, looking through it through like the eyes of quantum physics and how that works, and understanding energy. So that way you're also protecting your energy. So the more misinformation people have out there, the more confusion there is. And then there's more hurt, because you're like, well, I don't know what to believe, because that sounds right, but my heart is telling me something else, and they're not getting that validation. And then that hurts too, because then when you're not getting the validation within yourself, or not understanding how that works, then you're continually seeking out the external. And then when you do, they're telling you you're not enough. And then you're receiving that as a false belief system. I'm not enough, which then feeds to your counterpart.
Right.
That person is picking it up that you feel that way. And then you're continually then creating those experiences for yourself, not understanding. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about even how the energetic dynamics work, whether it's a twin flame or not, because twin flames, it just happens faster because of that connection. But that happens with anybody you have a soul tie or your soul family with. It happens maybe not as fast, but the twin flame is just a fast track of those things. And with all this misinformation, then you're not trusting your gut. You're not training your gut. You're not believing what you're seeing. You're not, then you don't want to do the things that you've been called to do, because you have all these insecurities that are being validated by the misinformation.
Right. That's true. That's true. And that's why I came out even this morning. I was like, let me tell them that it's okay about the love piece, because I don't hear that enough on there. And I know I watch also Patricia McNealy, and she always stresses that, you're here to love. You're here to love. They keep on talking about the mission, and they're forgetting about that you're here to love. That's part of the piece. You're not just some kind of spiritual thing just to come down here to save the world, and you're not supposed to have that love piece. And that is very confusing, and that doesn't help you to live a very authentic or live in integrity as well, being true to your heart and being able to listen and hear what you really desire to do, because you're so busy on mission, and you make yourself miserable. After a while, mission stands for miserable.
Well, right. You get resentful. You start getting resentful for the whole thing.
Right. And some people's mission is just to love. Wherever you are, wherever you're placed, sometimes your mission is just to love, just to be that that love, that unconditional light, you know, that that everybody's okay. And so sometimes people put too much into mission, you know, worried about, well, I don't have a business and I don't.
I unconditionally love.
We love you. We love you unconditionally and your clothing.
That's the Wizard of Oz.
You can see my mess. It's a good metaphor for what we're experiencing.
The unveiling, right?
Right.
Look, I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to clean it up for you so that you can hear a more solid, connected message, right? We've got all these people out there. I don't even know if I can clean it up right now. It still exists. Okay. We've got all of these people out there spewing messages, but I think people really just need to slow down and not listen to anybody but themselves for a while.
There you go.
Most definitely.
It's okay to do that, to not keep having input and allow yourself to kind of settle still and take an assessment of what's going on in your closet. Do you want everything that you got there? There was a lot more a few days ago, but luckily Spirit said, clean it up. Get it together, girl. Because apparently you're about to fall down on the recording during the playground. Okay? Because if you guys saw the stacks of stuff that was in there, it was just too jumbled. And that's what's going on. It's like people, they want to reawaken their connection with their intuition. As a twin flame, we go through a huge, heavy load of experiences. And we have a lot of things to unpack and organize. I mean, I got cloth diapers and jackets I can't wear. It's too hot in Hawaii, yet I still have these jackets. But to a certain extent, I appreciate what I have, and I know when I'm going to unpack it and use it. The same thing with what's going on with your inner childhood woundings or what's going on. You need to understand that everybody's got stuff in their closet. And when things don't resonate with you, being aware, because that's how you don't get too swept up in this. Because you've got to know yourself, your center, and then act from there. And when people are on point, yeah, flow with it. But also know people can come with some baggage. Let's say because I hear a lot of love talk, right? They're talking about, they're pumping you full of these endorphins saying, yes, you're going to go into union. But then as soon as they get you close enough to them, you start to see these are our woundings. You're not going to get into union because I'm not in union. You're not going to get into union because I don't feel worthy. So you don't feel worthy either. You know what I mean? And that's not really where you are. So you have to take an assessment of where you are. And it's okay to be any place along the journey. And it's all right to... He's having fun in the closet over here. It's okay to have fun in your closet, but you don't need to take everybody with you. You know what I'm saying? And be aware. Okay, so let me just pin this up.
Okay. Yeah, that is true about even the journey. You got to kind of be aware. I always say be aware of the messenger that's giving the message at this point, because they can steer you off. You might find yourself, they say, I'm healing. I might be pushing past the pain. But and then I listen to this person, or it don't have to even be readers. It could be just somebody you talking to and they can trigger you. You're like, oh my God, I'm back in square one. I thought I had handled those
my stepmom used to say, consider the source.
Right.
Where are they coming from? And you, above all, especially if you've been following a reader for a while or you've been following someone for a while, you know where their weaknesses are, more so than they might even be aware. And you know, just based on what's happening in society today, that a lot of veils are being pulled back. We're seeing behind the curtain that a lot of things aren't right out there. Like, my father was pretty tame, but some of the stuff that's going on in society and the stuff that we're healing, the deal with being, that's nice, honey. I'm glad you figured out that word. A lot of the stuff that's going on with us is we process for the collective. So a lot of this energy that you're feeling, especially with all this emotional turmoil, turn off your televisions. Give yourself an hour of just calm. You can turn on frequency if you feel uncomfortable, like you need something in the background. make it as neutral as possible so that you can really get to the depths of you. And realize when you're processing for others and when you're processing for yourself. A majority of twins are empaths on various levels, clairaudient, clairsentient, like, talking to ancestors. We all have different levels and different styles of gifts. Now, coming together like we do in the Sunshine Circle is such a beautiful gift because we're allowed to be ourselves. We feel comfortable in just awakening our gifts and allowing to stand strong in that. And what society has put toward us a majority of the time is don't listen to yourself, listen to us. I know you think something's wrong, but just pretend like it's not wrong. We're just going to keep doing it anyway. And that's what's happening with the civil unrest. We're all shifting out of pretending like things aren't wrong. And so you're going to see a lot of people go down in terms of these false, pretentious leaders in these circles. Like, it's okay to be in separation. There's a reason. And if you're waiting, that means you're not looking at yourself and you're not living.
Right.
Right? Because you're just staring at a clock now. And the clock just keeps going because you're bouncing back and forth in terms of your waiting versus being in action, being in motion, being yourself. And when you're your most authentic self and you're raw and you're vulnerable and you're open and you're just allowing, that's when you're able to flow with that twin energy. And so initially, and we still promote this, is coming into union with the self. Coming into flow with the self is going to be that anchoring point for you as a twin or otherwise, just anyone needs to come into union with themselves so that they can move forth with power and love in this very interesting shifting times. And we are really doing the bounce like she's talking about. Fine, I don't want him, forget it. But you see, you do want him. So don't bullshit yourself. Don't bullshit anybody, especially yourself, because we lie to ourselves first. And then you're pushing it away, and then you're mad you gotta wait. And it's like, oh no, let's come to the realization. I've been going to both sides of the teeter-totter, thinking I'm getting somewhere. But you're still on one teeter-totter. You really want to get somewhere, get out of the place that you are and shift.
Yeah, Kathy, do you want to say something?
Yeah, there's something that we need to recognize. There's a difference between waiting and holding space. Now, when you're waiting, usually waiting means you're standing, you're stagnant, you're there. Now, when you're holding space, that means I know they're coming. I just don't know when, but I know they're coming. I'm going to go on and do me, but I'm waiting for them to come in, because so many times you hear people say, well, I don't want anybody else. Well, nobody told you had to. Moving forward by no means is, well, I'm just leaving my twin. No, you're moving forward. You're progressing on what you need to do for you. You're holding that space, but you're not holding up your life. And I think that's where people get confused when, well, I'm waiting. I'm just going to wait. And he's just going, no, don't wait. You know, he and she will show up when it's time. You have to live your life.
I kind of want to add to this level. This might be controversial, but you said something which triggered something for me. But you know how that we're talking about, oh, they're in this karmic situation and they're doing X, Y, Z. And let's say the person has been avoiding a relationship or avoiding interacting with another human being. Mm-hmm. There is levels. I remember watching one of Jupiter 1111's readings or channelings, or both. She does them both all the time. Anyway, it was one of those, you enter into a relationship with someone, and sometimes it's just to help you get to the next stage or deeper level of self-understanding, or, you know what I mean? So if you're avoiding something, you're clearly avoiding your own healing and progression and evolution to step closer into you. Now, if you aren't attracted to someone and you see this as like a test moment because you see this person coming from a mile away, just karma just spilled all over this person. Oh, my baby's having fun in the closet. What does that mean? What does that mean when we're having fun in the closet? We are happy.
Happy.
Happy avoiding what really we need to do.
Right.
Yeah, and it was good because that actually it's kind of piggybacking to what was coming in my head, which was, you know, when they're saying, well, I'm waiting for him. Well, now you're hiding because now you're resentful. You're building a toxic energetic tie because you're like, I'm waiting for this person to show up in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be whole, in order for me to have an exciting life, in order for me to go into mission. You don't need any of that for that person. And then you're building already, you're actually, what you're doing and not recognizing is that you are now starting again that cycle of codependency, the cycle of hiding, the cycle of putting the ownership externally to somebody else to help you run your own life.
Mm-hmm.
That's not their job. So even if the person comes to you, whether you go with a soulmate or twin flame, it will go down in flames. Something's going to happen, and it's because it's being built on a wrong foundation. Love is not enough. It's not, because there's a lot of people who get together and they love each other and they have love for each other, but they were not good partners for each other. And that's because you have these, you're pushing off your own happiness externally, and we were never designed for that. We are designed for it, but we're designed to externally attach ourselves to source. That's the only external place where we can go to be completely safe, because we know we're completely loved and accepted, because we know that's where we can get our power from and our joy from. And if anybody's going to love us, it's going to be the one that created us. That's the only external source we can actually attach ourselves to for joy and happiness and peace. But humans were not designed that way. We're designed for community and to empower each other. But, you know, at the end of days, we're born alone and we die. Even if we have people around us, it's still one. It's still that person. And so when people want to wait, what they're saying, and then you can hear it because they get so mad. Well, I've been waiting for 17 years. What have you been doing that long? Mm-hmm. You haven't developed any other intimate relationships. You're not practicing union with other people. I mean, we should be able to see union in your lives, right? Me and Divine were saying we're in union together. And you'll see like our readings are going back and forth, where I might do a short one and she'll do the longer one, but her longer one kind of fills in the gaps of mine, or vice versa, because we're practicing union with each other. That's why I love doing these kind of things, because we're the four of us, we're practicing union for each other by giving us allowance of loving each other, accepting each other's gifts, you know, giving each other room to just grow and be, and enjoying each other's company. And if you are not having those kind of relationships already in the 3D, then that'll be your indicator. Mm-hmm. If you are not having union experiences with other people, and it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be platonic, but those are areas that's going to help you. Iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. And if that also causes pain, because you're looking for this external validation, and the thing is, what you seek is seeking you, but you want it so badly to come from one source, and God and source energy saying, but I have all these other people to play with and to make your life dynamic, and giving you all those things. When I was talking to David from Soul Mission the other day, it was so funny because it happens to me. I expect some things from my DM, but it came through like other DMs, right? Even in female form. And him and I were talking about something a few days ago, and I said, and he's like, yeah, but you're getting everything you want through this conversation. And I was like, yeah, but you and I are not making out, so I don't want that. I was just having it there, like, yeah, but you're not the one I want to be making out with. We're on the phone, and he's like, you're stupid. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it was like one of those things, like a slap into reality. What I was seeking was seeking me too, and it came through a different avenue, through a friendship. But in that moment, I was throwing a tantrum, like, but I don't want it that way, you know? Do you ever see the movie Bye Bye Birdie, right? And then he's talking about, and he goes, the daughter, and the son goes, I respect you, Papa. He goes, I don't want your respect. It's one of those things where you want it the way you want it, but when, you know, divine intelligence says, I'm giving you what you really desire.
Right.
And then you don't appreciate the package that shows up. You're like, but I don't want it that way. That's the wrong avatar. I want it this way. And then you get into ego and pride, and you can get hurt that way. And you end up creating pain because you are not appreciating the way it's showing up, and you're not recognizing it because you've made this other thing externally from you. Like, but I want it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not showing gratitude.
Yeah.
You're not being grateful, and you have to be grateful to what we are given to be able to receive more. And something that's really important is we have to, as a society, realize that people don't make us happy. We enjoy being with them. I am happy when I am with these ladies, but if something happened and I never spoke to them ever again, I wouldn't stop being happy. And that's what people are saying when you're saying, well, he makes me happy. No, he makes, the time you're with them enjoyable, but not happy. Because if you never saw him again, would you still be happy? Yes, I'd still be happy. And that's something, we can't give that power away. And people have to understand, another person, you can enjoy their company, you can be with them and be happy and have a great time. But that's not saying if you're never with that person ever again, you won't be happy. Happiness comes from within.
That is something I would even confess on myself that I had to kind of learn, because again, when you begin, and let's just be honest, when you're meeting your other divine counterpart, that intoxication, that connection, that intimacy that you don't have is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
You're drunk in love.
Oh, yeah.
Never experienced this before. I want more of it, and I want it.
You're like a coke
And I want
addict.
it
You're like,
You
now.
hear me? So that makes it very hard for you to kind of really come from understanding of and I can understand what it's phases. I have to be honest with you. It's phases. It's also something about in my childhood I had to get together with, because I was always taught to, to be able to mind other people pleaser, what they said. I was so dependent on about what other people thought about their thinking, because that came back from my childhood. So that all stemmed and webbed into the DM itself. And when he came along, it's like, yeah, but my DM pretty much, he's real good in understanding and help you. No, you got to go out there and you got to figure out yourself. You can't depend on me all the time. Communication might get flaky, and then after a while you become resentment to it, and then after a while you say, you know what, you're doing me a favor by this, because now you're making me turn and look at myself. And now I'm understanding that I can make myself happy. And so now it turns into that, and doing more practices of self-love, spending time with myself, and understanding before it was like a resentment thing of like, okay, he's not here. You should be sharing this moment with me. Why am I going out on dates by myself? Why am I doing this? You should be here. And then, after a while, it's just like, yo, I'm going to go to the show. This feels good. So it kind of morphed. I'll just be honest with you on my journey. It kind of morphed because, again, from childhood, how I was raised and how I thought, and it moved from that people pleasing to saying, fuck the world. If they don't believe in what I say and they ain't in agreement with it, that's your issue. I mean, I had to kind of grow into that. I can understand the struggle for some of them that might be just on the journey, because again, I call it how intoxicating it is. And it's like, woo, I mean, I just feel giggly like a little high school girl when he comes around. I like this feeling. I like to have this all the time, and so it's like, they'll show you real quick. Then that's when you got that pull and that push and pull, that force, that energy that comes along with that. So I'm in agreement with the gratitude, but just understanding. Thank you, Ralphie, of understanding that, yeah, it's a process. I'm saying I'm feeling empathy for these new waivers. It's like that's a little too quick for you to kind of push me right to that point yet. Some of them I'm feeling I'm time jumping. They're saying I'm not ready for that.
It's just practice. It's practice. You have to just practice that every single day. And really, how long? 63 days in a row, because that'll create a new belief system and a new routine and a new default setting. But you have to practice that. I don't know why the magic number is 63. All these different things, and they're like 63 is the magic number. 21 starts the new habit. But your brain's always looking for patterns, and it's always trying to create new belief systems because it wants to rev down. It wants to cool off. But you have to practice that every single day, that one thing for 63 days. And then like 63 days, it becomes like a magic number. And then it's just part of your routine. It's part of your default setting. And then it becomes easier, but it's because you've already created that shift, that internal shift. And so now your default setting is like, oh, wait, I used to not love taking myself on dates. Ooh, I'm having a good time. So then when somebody else wants to come with you, like, wait a minute, now you're infringing on me time. I didn't want you to, I was trying to go by myself.
That's what I'm thinking. I was fine by myself. Why you coming with me? Oh, Jesus, help us. Okay. Let me open myself to learn from this experience. Wow. Okay. I see why you came along, but otherwise that I plan to go by myself to the show. I got that. I got a angel's advocate. April, did you want to say something before I ask this?
Because it kept coming up because I was doing about the future, not me asking.
Okay.
The question is, how do I define myself as a man or a woman when I have this other person complete this space? What do I do in the meantime? How do I know I'm womanly enough? How do I know that I'm worthy or qualified, or I keep doing all this work, but how do I know that I'm even going in the right direction? Right? How do I define myself as a woman when I have this man? How do I hold space for a man? As a man, how do I even hold space for a woman?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what kind of kept, because I kept trying to move and I'm like flowing with your guys' levels. And I'm like, okay, great. But let's say I'm at the very beginning. And I met this person and they just sparked all this stuff for me. Very interesting, but I still don't know how to define myself. I still don't even know where to, because I can do everything. Sure, I don't need them. Sure would like them. But how that's kind of where I'm.
I feel you.
Coming through. It's like a teenager just like, I don't need you, but I kind of need you though, right?
The highs and lows of it. Oh, that's take it to Kathy D, because someone tells me, let's start it with the mind, because if you're the first on this journey, you're just kind of coming through it. The first thing of source or weapon of attack you're going to use is your mind. Right. You ain't going to think with the heart. The heart going to be last thing you're going to check. Let's be honest. You're going to check in with. I mean, unless you're really in tune with yourself. But especially when you're going through what April, this scenario, I feel like when it's psychological. This is scenario A. So when you're in scenario A that she's in, that she's showing there, I mean, that person is obviously the first thing they're going to go through is my mind. How can I change this Jedi mind trick this with my mind? Because I need this person. I don't need them. They done ran off, and what I'm supposed to do in this space while I wait. So what would you suggest for them, Kathy?
The first thing to do, which is a wonderful thing to do, is a self-inventory. And it's literally when you go through and you ask yourself these questions, what do I like? Why do I like it? When did I start liking it? Is it, so you go through and you ask, it's a series of about 50 questions is a full self-inventory, and you work through that, and it really reintroduces you to yourself, and you understand, and you start thinking back to, and their levels, their times, as a child, what did you like doing? I like to color. Well, do you still color? Well, no. Well, why not? And so it's those levels of introducing yourself to yourself again, is the best way to do it. And then, sitting down, and then there's another level. It's not a self-inventory, but they're questions to just ask yourself, why do I feel this way? When did I first feel this way? And then you document it, If you're going through that point of the pain with the abandonment, but you just know you're heartbroken and you just don't know what to do without this person. Well, when was the first time you felt that? And then you go through and you kind of pull that back up. And really and truly what you're doing is you're doing inner child work. You're just kind of doing it step by step. So, I felt like this when, and it can be something as simple as I had to change schools. My best friend changed schools. My dog died. Any of those things, and there's no wrong answer, but you're just saying, I feel heartbroken. This is the first time I remember feeling like this.
Mm.
And then what did, how did you get over it? What did you do? Did you get a new puppy? Did you make a new friend? What did you do? And how, thinking back, so there's 4 columns, and then how, thinking back to that memory, do you feel now? And so then that shows you your growth, and it gives your mind that little click of, see, I can do it. And so then you go through each step, and I mean, you just keep writing things down. I feel heartbroken. I feel lonely. Well, when did you first feel lonely? And if you're like, well, I actually like being by myself. This is really the first time I've ever felt lonely. Okay, well then, write it down. And then when you get to that 4th column, then you say, but these are some things I think I can do to get over that loneliness. And you go through, but it's almost like cataloging those emotions. So you have something to look back to. And then a lot of times your self-inventory will also trigger some of that to be able to see.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, have you created a workbook on that?
Actually, I do have all of that.
Because if you do you offer it as a service so somebody can buy it?
I mean, yeah, it's on my website as as part of the coaching package. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, ooh, that's good. Everybody needs that.
That need to have that. Yeah. On the website. Okay. So Jupiter 11, what's your perspective on scenario A? But not knowing I'm waiting. I don't know a woman, a man as I'm waiting.
It kind of piggybacking what Kathy was saying too. If you're a female, and then if you're a female looking at what is a woman, what do you think it is, and then like, where did you get that idea from, and what parts of that make you feel good, like, oh yes, I like that idea, and what parts of it makes you go, because sometimes women, we're in a female avatar, and like I have friends that like they never wanted children. They were about like, but they don't. So they were almost like chastised. They're in their 40s, late 40s, and they're like, people always ask me why didn't I ever have kids? And then they look at me like I have a wart in my nose, and I'm kind of like, maybe I've been eating the children in the background. It's like, those kind of things. I was like, but I never wanted children. And they have like nieces and nephews, and they dote on them and they love them. And I'm like, well, you are motherly. You're just like, you never wanted that role for yourself. And they were like very sure of that. And then having to come against those societal kind of rules around what it means to be a female, and how that should look. So if you do the exercise that Kathy was doing, then you can do the same exercise too. What does it mean for you? What is, if you were going to draw yourself a superwoman, what would she be doing? What would make her that superwoman to you? Why do you think that you can't be that same role? What's the difference between what your ideal is and what you think you are? And then seeing where you have to bridge the gaps. Are those just things that are external expectations of things that really you don't want for yourself, but you just think, oh, that would be cool if I wanted that, but I kind of don't want it. And being okay with those gaps, like, well, I don't want that for myself. I don't, some women, they're not made to be at home with their children, and that's fine. And there's some other women that I knew, that's all they wanted growing up. They wanted to be a wife and have 1 million kids. That's all they talked about. But they're also looked down upon, like, oh, but you don't have a job? You try running a house with 5 kids. And you're growing humans that are going to be good human beings and that fully functional, citizens, and they're going to be healthy human, high vibe human beings. There's a lot of work going into making sure that the home is a sanctuary so that everybody in it thrives. And so if you have all these like different kind of ideals, and some women are like, well, I want to be able to have it all. I want to have the husband, and I want to have the kids, and I want to be able to go and work. But then feeling bad, like, well, if I'm working, then I can't spend enough time with my children. There's allotments for things, but you can't put all these things on paper and be like, well, I don't have what it takes to do everything. you have to find like, what are you good at? Where is your juice at? If you want to be at home and you want to have a million kids, then be at home, because that's going to be your bliss. I mean, you might not have that much hair at the end of it because you're like pulling your hair out. You're like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. That's okay. Just wear white like I do. But you have to find where your bliss center is when you're looking at all these things. Where is it that you're getting enough fire in your belly? And you're like, ooh, I really like that. And then explore that piece and forget the other pieces for now and just play in that space where it's making you feel feminine. What makes you feel feminine? You know what makes my sister feel feminine? Doing masculine stuff. She came over to spend time with me because what happened, and so she went into her masculine energy and she loves it. She took me to Home Depot. She bought all this shelving stuff. She put all this stuff around my apartment, so it helped us to get a whole bunch of things organized. She's like, ooh, I love it. And she was just like, she was lit. But for her, she loves it. And it's funny because that's how her husband, that's what he loves about her, because she used to work on cars.
Okay.
And he works for another company, and she would come in and fix the cars, and she was like the mechanic, and he would go in and he would take things apart from the car, and then she would have to pop the hood and go inside the car, and her butt sticking out, and he's just watching her. And he would like take stupid things out, like the spark plugs, and she's like, who took out the spark plugs? And he would just like disconnect the hose, that there's no way that was gonna come out. And then after like 3 times in a row, she's like, somebody's messing with me. And it turned out he was shy. He wanted to ask her out, but he loved her. She came out, like, ooh, she came out looking like a grease monkey. She looked so fine. She was all full of grease and stuff, all dirty. And he was just like, that's the woman for me. She was in her flow. She loved working with cars. That made her feel like a powerful woman, getting, not me. You're not going to find me underneath the car. I'd be like, somebody else go ahead and do that. Like the opposite, right? So, but then she'll get her girly stuff on and she'll like wear a dress. We're like, oh, we forget how pretty your body is, because she's always wearing big clothes that are comfortable because she got stuff to do. Mm-hmm. But she feels powerful when she's greasy. When she's building stuff, she just feels like, I feel like a powerful Amazon woman. I built that, or I fixed that car, or I fixed the sink. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to, you have to find what you love, and that's going to make you feel feminine. That's going to make you feel like an empowered woman. And whatever it is that really does it for you, then do more of that, because that actually will open you up to draw people in, including your masculine. Because just like with my sister and her husband, there's different strokes for different folks with different strokes.
Different strokes for different folks.
When he saw her, he was just like, ooh, grease monkey, hello. And he's like, and she had a nice butt. He's just like, oh my gosh, she's the woman for me. I have to figure out how to say I've been screwing up the cars on purpose. so that she can come over here and try to fix something that's not broken. Then they've been married for like 11, 12 years, totally happily married, and she's still fixing stuff. And then when he needs something done in the car, he's like, babe, go fix it. Then he'll sit there, he'll grab a chair and just watch her. And he knows how to fix it. He just likes watching her fix stuff, because it's like, damn, that's fine. Look at that girl.
I love it. What they say is always, the old folks saying, there's always somebody out there for everybody. Somebody to match for, as that one. I got another one that I'm time jumping to for somebody else. They're saying, what do you do, especially when we're talking about, the title is pushing past the pain. What do you do when you've been vulnerable with your divine counterpart and they keep on hurting you over and over again? How do you push past that?
I did right.
It takes an assessment. You want to take some time to breathe that in, and why you're inviting that in. You're doing beautiful by being vulnerable. The question is, are you in a space where you're healthy, vulnerable with each other? Are you early in your journey when you're going back and forth? Because maybe there can be a few different things. They could be, bouncing triggers off each other, because twins do that sometimes. It's like, it's crazy. But they also could be speaking to you in a way that you might not be able to hear because of a certain wounding or lens perspective. So you could ask them to expand on that, or, you know, this kind of hurts when you say it this way. What are you actually trying to say to me, kind of thing? Because you could be kind of searching for pain, especially if they keep hurting you in the same way. You could be kind of setting yourself off on a, well, they always hurt me kind of a thing. And I play this role in this relationship, or I can't let myself be vulnerable because I know I'm going to get hurt. And then you set yourself up for that pain. It can also be that it could be a test with spirit, you know, like to let yourself get to a point where these types of things don't trigger you anymore. But typically your counterpart, there's going to be an evolution of the emotions. It's not always going to be the same triggering. So if you're having the same pain over and over again, something really isn't aligned. And there's often a hold on to karmics where we want them to be the DM, but they're not the divine. But we keep placing them in that sense because we know that we are going to get to that energetic level of we're met with that person. Because I can create magic with someone in terms of love making or kissing or, you know, just totally bringing that goddess energy in and making it all swirly and sparkly and stuff. But that doesn't mean that that person was my person. That just means that I know how to harness that energy and allow it to kind of transfer through. And it's kind of like stepping stones to when you actually meet your divine karmic. I mean, your divine, whoops, Freudian. That's what you have. But in the future, or in the now, when you make your divine masculine, they're stepping stones. So there's clearly, I mean, obviously, if you're still getting hurt, there's still something to heal, which is beautiful. But it can also be kind of painful healing sometimes. Like I've heard of the concept of when you have a broken bone and it doesn't set correctly. Sometimes they got to go in and break it again and then readjust it so it sets properly. But then when it grows back, it's stronger than ever, right? So that there's kind of like a balancing within that. Anyone else want to add on to that concept?
I think you kind of have to check your boundaries too. And I mean on a personal level. If this person is hurting you, and especially if it's in the same way, you have to check your boundaries on where have you maybe not set them high enough or strong enough, and where are you letting yourself let your boundaries down. And I know sometimes in early stages of the twin flames, it's very easy to let those boundaries down because we're in that bubble love. You know, we feel like teenagers and we're just, you know, just so happy and so giddy and everything sunshine and roses and lollipops. And we let them maybe a lot of times get away with things that maybe normally we wouldn't have. So when you're being hurt like that, you need to step back and look at other relationships and see if that's a repeating pattern where you're hurt like that in every relationship. Then you need to kind of adjust to that and see, like April said, is this a reoccurring wound? Or if this is something you're just letting them get away with, you know, because any other man, you know, I wished him well if he would have tried that or said that, or, you know, so you have to look at what you're allowing and boundaries and learning to set firm ones.
Can I pick back on that for a second? There's a caveat. Okay. So when you do set your boundaries, be strong in those boundaries and know that they're there for a reason. And as you go through the process, because sometimes that boundaries ends up 8 of cupsing, we call it, when you shift them off because they need to work on that particular thing and you need to work on that particular thing. You don't want to beat yourself off for sending them off to heal and change and become anew, because you yourself are healing and changing and becoming anew. So when you do come actually back together, it allows you to embrace fully without that potential of wounding. Just saying. Yeah. So everything's on purpose.
Yeah. And what I was getting to was like really assessing what's your secondary benefit. Because a lot of times, you know, there are people who are like, well, I'm being vulnerable with the person and he keeps on hurting me over and over again. But why are you being vulnerable with the person if they keep on doing it over and over again by your own estimation and your own assessment? What is it about you're being vulnerable? Are you doing it because you want them to be vulnerable back? That shouldn't be the reason. You're easily vulnerable with people that you feel safe with.
Yeah.
And if the person doesn't make you feel safe, then what is the secondary benefit? Are you doing it because you figure if you don't, then, maybe they won't be vulnerable, or if you don't, then, you're not creating this intimacy? Well, it's not intimacy if you don't feel safe. Because there have been times when, I've had, conversations with my DM, and he'll say something to me, and he knows when something's off when I go quiet. And he's just like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't feel safe with you right now. And like, for me to say that to him, it's just like, I might have it would have been easier for me to grab a machete and just stab up myself physically. And I'm like, I don't feel safe with you right now. And you know why. And I was like, I need to reconcile that. So even like recently when I said I had to reconcile some things, now he won't ask, because he's just like, oh, it's good that you're reconciling, right? Because he's just like, I don't even want to ask the question, because I'm afraid if I say, what are you reconciling, the answer's gonna be me, and I don't want to want to open up that door, because I'm not ready to hear you say, I don't feel safe with you, because he already knows that's the next step if I don't reconcile what's happening within me. So it's just like one of those things when you're like being vulnerable, and if you're continuing to be vulnerable with somebody you feel is abusing you in some emotional way, then what's your secondary? There is a secondary benefit, because we just don't do things to do things. Right. We're going back continually to the scene of the crime, hoping for a different result. But if that person is not changing, then you have to figure out, like, why am I continually going back to this? And I must be doing it in other relationships. And it may not be vulnerability, but it might be things that you're doing also over and over at work. And then having almost a similar dynamic with your boss. You keep on doing it over and over again, and you're not getting anywhere, but it travels. That same issue is just going in different places of your life, and it may manifest itself differently, but it's still the same thing. You're not recognizing the secondary benefit, because most people stay, and that's why people like the masculines stay a lot with their karmics. The secondary benefit was not love for them. It was because of the children, or because of the status, or because of the money, or because all of it. The secondary benefit had nothing to do with love or his own bliss, or what he's called to do. The secondary benefit was the roots that were created on a faulty system. Right. And they're so deeply rooted that it's hard to get out of that entanglement.
Let me throw in a side note.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, if you come from any kind of abusive situation, either from childhood or a previous relationship that was abusive, as a teenager or at any time, go and make sure you go and spend some time talking to someone to help you pick up on the codependency issues, the people pleasing issues, those kind of things, because those are, there's a puppy. There's, those are really strong things, and they're very hard to break. And if they come from abuse, you need someone to talk to. And I'm definitely preaching to the choir here. And, so don't think this is just, I'm just pulling this out. This is really something you need to look into and work through, because that you are actually opening yourself up to come back into a similar abusive situation, even if the person is not abusive, but you're going to abuse yourself. So be very mindful of what some of these triggers are. And some of them are just, like Jupiter said, what is the second benefit to this? I don't want them to leave, or, I just really like them, and they're just the greatest in the whole wide world. And I just, those are, normal feelings. But when it gets very, codependent, and that you've had a history of abuse, make sure you get some help, somebody that can help you with that.
And I would like to say, I would especially try to get with a professional, because a lot of times we want to unload all this stuff on, let's say, a friend
Oh, yes.
or a family member, and they're already dealing with what they are dealing with, and you can overload other people because they think that they have to solve your problems, but the only thing that they can do is listen. And so if you can understand that other people cannot solve your problems, you basically have the responsibility of yourself. And unless you're really, really self-aware, do your best to not emotionally dump or, oh my goodness, really? Emotionally dump. You're sitting there dumping smoothie all over the ground. Oh, Lord.
You
Say the word dump and you shall get.
And clean up now. This is the metaphor for life. We got to go behind.
Dump is dump. So yeah, it's
the diaper's missing. There's smoothie all over the ground.
Party in Hawaii.
The closet was exposed.
But you know what? And I will also say what makes it very unique again too about this journey. Also watch who you're talking to, that you are, if you get a profession that you're unloading to too, because this journey is kind of, I was saying, hypersensitive or case sensitive. I don't know where they brought that to me. I seen it like shoot on the file, case sensitive, because it's very sensitive matters and subject matters that we talk about that the regular Joe don't kind of understand. Because I could talk to my bestie about like a certain point I can, and she can understand it. And I got another friend that's very spiritual. I could talk to her to a certain point and she gets it. But it's different than when you call and you talk to or another twin flame that's on the journey that really kind of gets the ins and outs of different things. So I'm in agreement with seeking talk to somebody else with another perspective, but it makes it really extra special when you find somebody that's also understands and knows about twin flame journey and the relationship and the dynamics. That makes it extra special as well. So that's something I would say, please make sure that you do that.
And don't be afraid to ask. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask that. If you're calling and checking with a counselor, remember, they're working for you. And so you need to go in and say, I'd like to just sit down and talk to you for 30 minutes and just see how it works. If they don't offer that, this is just my professional opinion, but then because there are also, as a counselor, you have to make sure that you can work with a person as well. Yeah. And so don't be afraid to ask what their background is with twin flames. If they look at you like you have three heads, then you know you can talk to them about codependency and that kind of stuff. But the twin flame part is out. If they say, oh, you know about twin flames, then you know that it's an open.
Winner chicken dinner. That's the same thing like even when I did my past life regression too. And she understood. She's like, yeah, I'm very familiarized with the twin flame journey. But I know I'm not like deep. I feel that I am a twin flame, but she said I do know. So that made me feel a little bit comfortable when I spoke the language and some things about it that she could understand when she put me under that the similarities and things that I've seen that happen between myself and the DM or whatever. She could understand like, oh, okay, I can connect the dots for you. So that makes a world of difference there. When you talk about let's real shift before April gets to doing her little exercise and activity. Let's push it past to what's happening in the world, because we kind of talked about that. So what can we do in order to kind of push past what's going on in the world? Because we are light workers, and I know some of us feel like, what can I do? As a light worker, that's supposed to be mission. I'm supposed to be helping, but at the same time, I'm getting overwhelmed by what's going on in the world, and I can't, really know how to even push past the pain that I'm actually feeling. So what would you tell twin flame that say, I know I'm a light worker, but I'm kind of overwhelmed with what's going on in the world? How do I push past the pain that I'm feeling right now about the experiences out there?
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
And it's getting better all the time.
When I can't do, I don't even know if that's the real lyrics, but they sound good.
I'll stop the world and melt with you. Yeah.
You just take the time to stop. You need to pull back completely from everything, accept yourself, and breathe you in. Allow you to come into a center of, because we feel a lot. Twins, everybody's feeling a lot right now. Okay, the community, our species, and we are a social creature. We are feeling everything, that everything is happening, and we want to alleviate the pain on the planet. The majority of us really want to shift this energy. So those of us that are caught in the throes of emotion cannot think and act correctly according to our highest purpose and self. So my recommendation is pausing. Not saying that you can't get back out there and help and do whatever it is that you're doing, but you need to take the time for yourself to center yourself, to feel moments and breaths of calm. Practice breathing meditations, box breath, whatever is necessary for you to find the center of stillness so that you can act with clarity. Because when you're in a frazzle, you really aren't as effective as when you are calm and direct in your action and leadership.
Yeah. And you really need to, like she said, I was like, yeah, you need to step away. Not like, even like give yourself a social media blackout where you're like, I'm not going to, trust me, if something important happens, somebody's going to text you or call you. Or you'll get a message from the government. Here it's not like an Amber Alert on your phone. Anything that you absolutely need to know, someone will let you know, oh, this happened, right? So I think the ones that are really staying at peace around this and being able to do a lot of light working stuff are the ones who've actually limited their social media. Because then again, you have to remember why it's called a feed. It's feeding you. It's feeding you through your eye gate. It's igniting your imagination. So that way it can create a emotional frenzy response. And so if you're not taking time to step away to get centered, and then when you feel grounded, then as a light worker, then you can go back on your social media, go through your feed with the purpose of who can I release love and light over. And when you see that righteous anger come up, because there should be, right? But you can read in between the lines of things that, man, they really need some peace around them right now, because I can see if this is not checked where they can do some damage to themselves, then you can take a moment and love on someone else and release love and light over them. Then go into your social media feed as an avenue of mission work. Where can I do some good? Where can I speak some truth and love? Where can I speak words of peace? Where can I speak words of I'm grateful for you and the truth that you're bringing out? And choose to then use a social feed as a practice ground to work your light. Because we're always talking about being a light worker, but then you don't want to work your light. What's the point of you having your superpowers if you don't utilize them to help someone else? So a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do with mission. You can start there. Because my daughter the other day, my middle child, we call him number one son, he's already figured out that he's a healer. He's got a lot of similar gifts as David and from Soul Mission. So I was able to help him and navigate through these awakenings that he's going through. But those kind of gifts are like the external wow kind of gifts, right? When people are getting healed, and you can see them shift. My daughter's older than him, and she's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then the other day, this morning, she's like, I think my superpower is just being at the right place at the right time. She's always at the right place at the right time with the right thing to say, with the right touch. And it just shifts the atmosphere in seconds. And she was just like, I think that's my superpower. I am wherever I'm supposed to be, right? When I'm supposed to be there. When somebody needs something, it's like literally somebody turns around and there she is. And she's like, I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And it was like what Kathy's saying, some people's job is just to exude love. And that's why people love to be around her, because she's just like, sunshine. And she's calming. Her presence is very calming. And she'll say words that like in a couple seconds, everything just turns around. But she's recognizing that of herself. Oh, I'm just at the right place at the right time. And God just gives me the right words to say. That's my superpower. And I'm like, yes, it is, But we need to practice that. And now it's actually for those looking for mission, then work your light. Whatever it is, you're like, well, I'm not sure what it is. you can always speak words of kindness. You can always speak words of love. You can always speak words of grace. Always. People always, especially now where when they're angry and they're broken for good reasons. But you can be that healer in their midst, saying, you know what, I understand you and I get it. And I just want to validate you and tell you that I love you and I see your passion. And I'm glad that you're awakened to these injustices. Now, what do you want to do about it? What can we do about it as a collective? What can we do about it as a community, especially for those who live near each other? Then take it the next step. Even having those conversations, what can we do now? What can we do, to speak against these social injustices? What physically can we go do, and start with the spiritual things of the prayers and the meditations. But always when you do those things, source gives you ideas. Then it's like, then move on them. Kathy's like, when you get that idea, move on it.
Yes.
So in your quiet space, like April said, and you come back, you'll get an idea. But then move on it, because faith without works is dead. You're asking for mission, and then when you get the idea, you don't want to call your friend, you don't want to text your friend, you don't want to put your opinion, because you're like, well, it's none of my business. That's why a lot of women still get their asses beat, because they're like, I know what's happening in that house. When all this stuff is happening, there's so much social injustice when the neighbor, and that man is beating the crap out of the wife and the kids for 10 years. And then you want to go on Facebook and be like, this was injustice. Yes, it was. But you've been allowing your neighbor to get their ass whipped for 10 years.
She could just, or they could just need to hear the right thing or have the right support to know that people are, because we've all been programmed to deal. We're all having self-worth issues. We're all having rooting issues. We don't know where we stand. We don't know how to stand properly. There's a lot of cloudiness, and I just put out, I just pumped out videos.
We loved it.
We did. I did a clearing for the crown and the third eye, a clearing for the solar plexus in terms of action and right action. And there is a difference. I just want to point this out because it kind of came up when you guys were talking, but there's a difference between you thinking something is right for someone and them stepping into it. There's such things as trauma bonding and things like that. So you come into your power, and in order to come into mission, you actually have to be in joy. You have to find things that lighten your heart up. And so when you see a person and you're like, well, I know I can help them and I'm going to do this for them, what do they actually want and how will they receive? Because if you have a cycle that you are used to people not hearing you, or, something like this, you can pick a person inadvertently that's going to help you shut down because it's a trauma bonding situation versus you stepping into your gift. So step into that lighter space and actually knock on the doors, and the doors that open go through. Don't knock on a door that's not going to do nothing for you.
Right. That's just going to frustrate you.
Yeah. So just flow. We're going into flow now. We're finding our joy and we're flowing together.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Trauma bonding. Kathy D, Jedi mind, what do you think that they could do for these times?
Really and truly, I know here we've had some peaceful protesting. Never put yourself in harm's way. I want to say that first and foremost. But you know what? If nothing else, go out, buy a flat of water and take water out to people. Support what they're doing. Be a decent human being. Bottom line, be a decent human being. And it shouldn't be just these times that we need to do that. It's something we should do all the time. If there's somebody that needs help, if a grocery bag's slipping, all you have to say is, oh, can I help you? They might say, nope, I got it balanced. Okay, great. But you offered. You were being a decent human being. It's better than 3 minutes later helping them pick up oranges all over the parking lot. Parents with strollers and children. And, you see things people need. Be a decent human being. And sometimes, you know what? I had a situation where I had to, not me, for a family member, but had to go up to the sheriff's office and everything, and had to wait while some paperwork was done. And I was standing outside, and this woman came out, and whatever the situation they were in there for is none of my business, but had a really cute dress on. And as she walked by, I told her, I said, "Oh, I love your dress. That's so cute. Oh my gosh, your shoes match too. That is an awesome outfit." They looked at me like I was crazy. That shouldn't be. We should just be decent human beings. And
oh, poor Kathy B.
I know, and I'm like,
I do that all the time. People love that stuff. They're like, "Oh, thank you." And one woman came up and she started talking about, "This is that designer. And what's that? Oh my gosh, yours is so cute." And I was like, Ross Special.
Or they got a good deal like me. I got this at the thrift store for $3.
Get out of here. What thrift store?
Mm-hmm. But and that's the thing. Just be a decent human being. It doesn't matter. And my girls have always played the game. We live in Florida, so we go to Disney, and it's not even a game. They find something about someone they like, and even a little tiny. When my youngest was like 4 or 5, would walk up to just this random woman and say, "I like your earrings. Those are really pretty." And they'd look at her, and my oldest, same thing. "Oh, I like your shoes. Oh, that's a cute bag. Oh, I like that top." And it got to the point where it was like, "All right, guys, calm down. We're being a little over." But, then I realized, no, I don't want to stop that. And so, where other people would go through things like that and make fun of people, my kids go through and compliment everybody. So if you see 2 girls and you're ever at Disney World and they come up and compliment you and their blonde hair, they're probably my children. But, decent, you got to be a decent human being. The other thing is, if you're in a situation where you can't get out due to curfews, things like that, once again, don't put yourself in any danger, but you see things on television, just flipping channels, news updates, you know what? Mute the sound, close your eyes, ground yourself, center, and send love to that picture. Send love from your heart. And it's almost, we all kind of joked about it. It's like the Care Bear stare. I mean, you just pull all that energy together to all those people and you send it to them. You send it to them, because remember, time's an illusion. So is distance. So it gets to them. Send it to them.
Want to put out any heaviness that you're feeling, because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of misreporting and a lot of illusions being pushed out right now. So if you are feeling disconnected from what you're seeing and it's not how you're feeling the experience, trust how you are feeling the experience. And then as you go into that, continue with what Kathy D is saying, because that's the reason you're muting it, because they are trying to tell you what you're seeing, but you know what you're feeling and experiencing.
Yeah, you're using your third eye when you're looking at that picture, really and truly, when you're looking at that situation. Because at that point, when you turn off all of that with the media, you're seeing people that are hurt and people that are confused and people that are upset and people that need love, that need answers and need understanding. And that's when you just pull it all. You ground yourself good. And that's the key point. Make sure you ground yourself really good. And then you just pull that energy in and you just send it out right from your heart chakra, and you just send it. And you can send the green light, you can send pink light. I've heard it both ways, but just send it. Send it to those people.
I'm time jumping because I'm hearing somebody saying, but I don't even know if that's going to work. So in quantum physics, right? Using the analogy that Kathy gave you with the Care Bear stare, right? They had all this power coming out of the chest, the heart chakra. The reason now we're showing quantum physics is showing us, right? This is what's called interference. And because of we're above time, that's why we can hear things. And so then what's happening when you started this, when we all started this, we were in interference with each other. So it's waves, right? So think of it like ripples in water. And then when we're in resonance, which is agreements with each other, now because we're in agreement, we are constructive. So we're pulling each other up. But then when you're feeling, you've been with somebody and you felt that before, you're in somebody's presence and you just feel like, ooh, I like them, but I'm feeling kind of drained. It's because it's, so now you're not you're not going up, you're going down. right? And that's what we see in quantum physics. So in this, that visually, so we're seeing it in the sciences being proved out, what Kathy said. So sometimes you're like, well, I feel like that's the right thing to do, but I don't know if it's going to work. It always works because there's no time and space, which is why we're like time lords, right? That's why, like, when you're praying or doing meditations over people, it reverses the past and it heals those wounds. So that way in the present, it's no longer in effect and it changes completely their future. So when you're doing that, what you're doing is that you're overshadowing the past in the now by pouring out this energy. It's all waves. And if you imagine it, it's almost easier to get into, because then you can pour out and be like, I'm just going to pour this out, and seeing that connection, understanding that maybe you were watching that news because you were supposed to mute it to then work your light and practice. And you're now in interference with their information and their waves, and now you have a choice in that interference. Will you choose to bring the situation up by working your light, or will you agree with their assessment and pull everybody down who's watching it? You don't need that many people. When we're looking at, like, even scriptures and stuff, there was like 1 leader for 3 million folks. So what if you're the one person that's actually supposed to be leading people, and that's the 3 million in your area? And all sources asking is like, will you just work your light and love on them? Be that care bear. Since you're already in interference, choose. You can choose to shift it by using that love that's been placed inside of you. And it's like what Lightworker said, wherever you are, release your peace. And if they don't want it, it'll return to you. No harm, no foul. Right. If they don't want it, it's returned back to you. You don't lose anything. The only thing you're losing is you're losing time to practice who you are.
And it also returns no matter what. It's just going to return to you in several different ways, and it grows. No matter what's doing, it's growing. And light overpowers darkness no matter what, right? Because that's no matter what. And we can't see darkness. It's because there is nothing but light to make you aware of where darkness is. And this is that last little shift. In the beginning of this episode, we said that the devil you know is better than the one that you don't. Well, guess what? The one that you don't, the one that you're stepping into, isn't actually a devil at all. And if we can get across the fact that we are moving, shifting paradigms, this entire episode, while we're talking and I'm present and processing, dude, everything is shifting. I'm like burping. I kind of want to throw up. My back's doing all kinds of things. Bones are popping. I'm like, what is happening to me? I'm literally upgrading. Something that was painful in my wrist and my elbow for like 3 weeks now, it just started subsiding. And like, I literally watched a bone like kind of pop back and unswell in my body. So we won already. I'm going to be honest with you. We already won. We're already on the other side. If you're in a state of not knowing, let me know for you. Okay. We are good. Now it's just this matter of integrating that. Integrating. Keep going. And when we're saying grounding, there's a new level of grounding now. Okay. We are not just shoving everything at the earth and saying, you fix it and make it better. We are now processing it ourselves with higher heart energy. And the heart energy does cross the thresholds because we have the heart and the high heart. We've got the green, the pink, the magenta. You can work with all these colors. You can wear these colors. There's so many levels of hidden school knowledge that we are all awakening to. And a majority of us actually are right in line and pretty much get it. And it's a frequency thing. So just, if anything, trust yourself. If anything, if you feel like, what is happening? I'm being bamboozled from every direction. Trust yourself. Know that you are here for a purpose. Know that you are here with reason. So, do you have anything? Because I'm feeling that. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Who's ready? And I'm going to call on you, Jupiter. Whenever you're ready, you can come in with some light language. You can come in with some guidance. I know we both have... Jupiter has way more videos than I do, and she's already set up her playlists and stuff. but we've got meditations out there to help heal and ground, to help work with forgiveness, to help work with the different chakras and subtle bodies. I just put one out about a DNA meditation for helping with, it's like using scientific concepts, because I have a really heavy science background, using scientific concepts with a spiritual context to help us understand how energy flows, because we've already won. The question is, or the answer to the question is, everyone needs tools, and they need it from different directions. That's the same way why certain readers work for you and certain readers don't, right? Because everybody is in a different frequency and a different timeline. And you yourself, by being here with us, especially at this point, you are pushing us all and supporting the space for us to jump up and jump hyper level. So all this mashugana about all the dark stuff that's happening, it's over. The question is, you know, you carried the baby this long. You're past your due date. You're ready to go. It's gonna pop out. And no matter what, I tried, because I did a natural birth at home, and I was just like, I was already bent over, he's crowning, and I'm just like, what if I just said no? What if I was just like, no, I don't want to do it? And then my body had another contraction without me even trying. So we are doing it. We're birthing this new world. We're birthing this new consciousness. You might as well just step in line, because it's going to happen, and step in line with your abundance, step in line with your self-knowing, step in line with your intuition. And the reason I can speak with so much fire is because that's what Spirit's got me doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, who's with us?
Good. Yeah, let's go.
I'm with Captain Planet. Heart.
Everybody, Care Bear stand.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
we all just showed our age, but anyway.
You look good though.
They have a new version.
do.
You can have a new strawberry shortcake, which is not as good. I mean, you can comment below. Just kidding. We don't need time to do all that.
Oh, I love my little strawberry shortcake dials. I had all of them. You can sniff them. They smell like strawberries, blueberries. I can smell it now. Oh my
Yeah.
Okay, but what's our activity? Come on, you know the drill.
Okay, so we're gonna do. We're gonna do a couple of. We're gonna integrate a few different ones that we've done from other videos.
Okay.
Let's take some deep breaths together. Let's do 3 deep breaths together. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Okay, and then hold for 4 when you go out. So you're empty, and then you breathe back in. Okay, so in, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold. Okay, so just allow your body to breathe. Any excess we were just holding, we allowed it to release. Feel your body. Go ahead and sway a little bit. What does your body naturally want to do right now? Just allow yourself. Go ahead and kind of shimmy your shoulders, shake your hips, round, whatever you need to do. I'm blessed to be on a ball right now. And as you breathe in on your next breath, all the parts that are stiff, just breathe into those parts. Allow them to have the air. Allow them to have the oxygen they need to keep processing. Release. Inhale gratitude for this wonderful temple, this sacred. Let's Stevie Wonder over there. Okay, just let yourself groove. Oh, gratitude. Release your tension. All right. Now come to space. Come into your body. Let the air around your body become thick. Thick like water. Ooh. Thick like milk. Thick like cream. Surround yourself with a bubble of light. This bubble goes from the inside to out, goes silver, gold, rose gold, violet, light purple. It's see-through, don't worry. You can open your eyes. We can do this open eyes or closed eyes, whatever is better, whatever you're feeling. Trust your instinct, trust your inside. Now you see this shell, it's kind of pearl. You can kind of see it like an actual bubble, right? And it keeps kind of shifting color. Now here we are. Now feel your root chakra. Just squeeze your perineum, you're kegling and the butt at the whole time. You know, just squeeze everything in the bottom and release. You know, with your breath. Squeeze the bottom and release. One more time, squeeze everything and release. I want you to take your hands, our healing hands, because all of us have healing hands in this protective bubble. And we're going to run it up from our feet. You can tap your feet on the ground. You're going to just over your body. You don't actually have to touch yourself. You can if you want to. I'm not judging you, whatever you're into, okay? And then you're going to go up your feet to your knees, your hips. Swirl around your sacral and your solar plexus. All right, the solar plexus is pinging. Whoa. We got some detoxing to do, people. Drink water. Drink water.
Oh no.
She's all right, people. Don't worry. Okay, now up.
She's a professional.
Your solar plexus to your heart, to your throat chakra. Oh, wow. Go ahead and move your jaws. I feel us locked up in our throats. A lot of us feel like we're not being heard. It's okay. Some of us don't want to listen to spirit because we're stubborn. You feel that? You hear these people? These people are so stubborn. Okay, go over your ears actually, and just clear that out. Just like kind of feel like you're pulling stuff out. There I go. Ooh, I got this tickle. Yeah, go ahead, pull it out, stroke it, and then we're gonna go to the third eye. Third eye clear, comb it, heal it, restore it, so that you can see what you're working on, you can see what others are working on, and non-attachment. Let's go to our crown. Trust that spirit is bringing in the light. Trust that spirit is bringing in the love. Okay, release. All right. Now that was a whole body energy check-in. Now we're going to go ahead and take this energy and shoot it up to the heaven through our spinal column. Just tighten your core a little bit. Feel secure and you're safe. Allow the energy to shoot up from the earth into our ankles, our knees, our hips, our lower tentian, our sacral. That's kind of our butt area. Our sacral, up through the solar plexus, through the heart, the high heart, the throat, the third eye, and up through our crown into heavens, and allow the energy from the heavens to come back down to our crown, our third eye, to our throat, into our high heart. We're going to stop at our high heart. We're just going to breathe the energy into our heart from heaven and up from the earth. The earth fuels us. Our earth makes up our body. And the heavens allows us to attract what we want from our innermost self, what our child wants. And allow that energy to grow. You can use your hands there and pulse it if you want to, stroke it, or you can just allow it to grow and spin in your mind's eye that energy. So now we're going to shoot our energy back up from our heart, through our throat, through our third eye, through our crown into the heavens. And right about 2 miles above the earth, we're all going to link in together like one giant homing beam. We're going to screw in that light bulb so we're all together. Our energy ropes are twisting, and then we shoot straight out into the universe, deep, 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 deep space to the source. We plugged in. Boom. There we go. Now breathe it back down. Ooh. And our power has grown as group. Our power has grown together. And allow it to resonate in our high heart. So that's where we anchor. That's where we're going to call that grounding now. Okay? We're grounding in our heart. Now, we're going to take that heart energy and move it to our solar plexus. We're going to know that we are loved and we are protected and we are together and that we are here for a purpose. We are here to grow in our mission, in our love, in our togetherness. So we connected our high hearts and our heart energy up through our ground into the heavens, and about 2 miles above the earth, we grouped together as a rope of energy and we shot up into the heavens. So our power is connected through our heart, and then we're taking that heart energy and putting it into our solar plexus so that we're guided with our love, with our inner child, with our high heart self. And this connecting from the heart to source within the universe, that's our new level of grounding. Because the earth is shifting, okay? She's changing, and we are anchoring her into our high heart energy. So go ahead and tap your feet, connect with source, connect with the earth and source, and we are pulling her energy up into us through our ankles, through our knees, through our hips, through our root chakra, and squeeze that root. Squeeze that our psoas muscles, which are the ones right down there, our sacral, and then squeeze your abs, and you're going to bring that energy up, and then you're going to pull it. So put one hand over your solar plexus and one hand over your heart. And we're pulling in from the Mother Earth up to our solar plexus, and we're pulling that solar plexus and we're circling the energy between our heart and our solar plexus. Breathe that in, let it spin around in the body, bounce up and down between the heart and the solar plexus and the solar plexus and the heart. Okay, now we're going to take our next breath. We're going to hold it in the heart. And the next breath, we're going to shoot that heart energy up through the throat, third eye, crown, into that space where we all connect about 2 miles above the earth. And then that rope spirals deep into the universe again. And it gets renewed and restored by source. And then we pull it back, or we don't pull it back down. It just shoots back down to us and enlivens us. 2 miles above the earth, it separates and allows us to anchor in where we are in our body. Pulling in from the crown. Right throat, into the heart, into the solar plexus, and let's just bounce your feet, tap in. Shake your jaws again. Anything that's stiff, let's just loosen it up. Shake your body. I feel it. People wanting to anchor into the old way, but it's like nah. Oh. All right, here we go. Are you ready, Mother? Ooh, that feels yummy. Okay, and just for some self-love here, let's go ahead and put our hands over our sacral. Just love that space. Just love this body we're in. We're given beautiful, sensual, creative, loving, intuitive body, loving, intuitive spirit, and we can embrace our sexuality, our sensuality, and that's part of our earth and nature, our sacredness. Okay, tap your heels. Tap your heels 3 times, and then you're home.
No place like home.
Yes. Okay, dokie. Were you led to do anything, Jupiter 1111, or?
Yeah, I was just like It was funny because my phone was fine, and then it said 15%, and I'm like, oh, we have time. And then it just went down to 5 in a couple minutes, and then it shut itself off. I'm like, oh, devil is a liar. No, I can't get my phone back on. And it was getting good. But I'm just gonna it's one of the, you know, a lot of the times when I do the light language, it comes out as song, and it's something that's in scripture that God sings over us.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because it's like, you know, people don't think about getting serenaded. And sorry, it's a little laggy, but I think it's coming through okay. But the thought of source energy like serenading you, singing over you all the time, you know, like thinking all these beautiful thoughts, and it's just like the thought of you makes them want to sing.
Yes.
So I love that. It's like, wow. So I'm just gonna do some light language, and Divine always has these beautiful interpretations. So I just do a little bit. And then, you know, whatever you guys end up having, you know, your interpretations as well, share them below, because we love to hear what was said through you. That's why I don't interpret, because a lot of times I get the interpretation, but it's almost like a painting where
Yes.
I'm just like, it's being abstract, and then you're telling, source will tell you what it means for you. Okay, so just receive. Sete o manene o manene o se o ne. Ke o manene o manene o se o manene. Te o manene o se te o manene. Ke o mane o se o manene. Se te o manene o manene o manene. Se 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 te o manene o manene o manene o ne. Se o manene o manene o manene. Se o manene o manene o manene. Se o manene o manene o manene. Se te o manene o manene o manene. Se o manene o manene o manene. Que o mare o mare o mare o ne. Te o mare o mare o mare o re. Te o mare o mare o mare. Que o mare o mare o mare o re. Te o mare o mare o mare. Te o mare o mare o mare. Se o mare o mare o mare o re. Se te o mare o mare o mare. Se o mare o mare o mare. Se o
I got figure looking up at the stars, and the stars were shading brown. And moved to is that then it moved to it being then saying you are great. You are great today. You are great. You are great today. Celebrate your greatness. You are great. You are great. Celebrate. You are the greatness. Celebrate. You are the greatness today. So I pictured that is probably the person sitting there, and it looks like the stars and the spirit is creating, moving things around and creating things in this manifestation, like the galaxies and the stars. And so they say, no, change the script. You are as great. Okay, thank you, Ralphie. Change the script to saying that you are great like the stars. So celebrate and say thank you, because you are great. You are great today. And that's what I heard.
I was seeing like the things we were doing, it was just like we were scattering the seeds. And it was just like all these beautiful seeds were coming out through this process. And it
Mm-hmm.
was causing massive growth. But it was pertaining really to, at the end of it, it was like there was a baby in the cradle. And it was just like I was singing a lullaby to this baby. And it feels like this is where we're going to see the exponential growth out of the things that we're doing now is for the wave that's coming. So it just felt like, oh, we're being like the moms or the midwives. We've already midwifed them in, and now like we're the nannies and the teachers of like taking care of this next wave by scattering the seeds right now. It was really beautiful. It was like showing us like part of our purpose for being here is to scatter the seeds for the next wave.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and they kind of like blend to the greatness of how you are to celebrate today. Thank God for you being in the right place and space for you to be able to create that. I can see where it says the seed because you got to believe in yourself that what you did plant out there were good seeds, and that it will come forth and bring forth and help the next generation to come as you're birthing. So remember to celebrate that you are great and thank God that you are great today. And so just thank you and thank you for the grateful. So that goes back to Kathy B saying always being thankful with that. And then with that gratefulness, you also intensify and you magnify what you have too as well. I was grounded to do a surrender to see about when we talk about getting over the pain too. Clear. So I just want to kind of leave. Ooh, it's right there. The fear. The word they have here is procrastinate, surrender to procrastination. So in order for us to level up and say now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off, taking action will attract success. So getting through the pain is to me is like goal, have that goal in mind as to where you're going, and that's going to propel you and push you on forward to ascend to your next level. And that's going to help you to push past that pain, because if you go with a purpose in mind and you focusing in on your bliss, everything else will be left behind. You won't be thinking about the pain because you're pretty much tunneling in on those goals that you have and the success. So you keep on having that target. I'm seeing like the Diana card now that's being able to this shooting off and having that target sign saying you are well, you deserve love. And if you have that understanding is that's going to kind of like be a driving force to send you through. I'm seeing it like an arrow, and it's got you got some of those arrows that you shoot off. I think that's from the gun, and it's still got that line that's connected still to the gun, and they're showing me they're propelling that off. I don't know, is the target
Isn't it
gun?
a harpoon?
Yeah, that's what they're showing me. So yeah, the shooting is still connected. So it's like it's going to drag you. Like if you're doing a fish and you get a fish or something out there, and it's going to drag you and your ship, your boat that you're in towards. So it's going to be that driving force that's going to push you through, regardless of you being able to that goal. That goal is going to pull you through. So that's what they're bringing to me about this procrastination, which is going to get you out of that. All right, last thoughts. Last thoughts, ladies. Any last thoughts about what we talked about today? Kathy D, you want to Jedi mind this in there?
You know what? It just right now in these times and with everything and always just be a decent human being. If you have a choice of anything, be kind.
Okay. Okay. April?
It's almost like repeat after me. I love you. I understand. We are doing this together. I accept you. I love you. We're doing this together. When the right language, when the speaking in tongues was happening, it was prompting me to do a prayer, and a release happened, and it felt like a dam broke of love, where the dam was basically the reservations or the wounded ego or whatever was holding it back. But the dam isn't necessary. The water needs to flow. The love gets to flow. It's flowing, and I'm not holding back anymore. which means the procrastination card.
I got you.
Oh.
Like TikTok, she drops the mic down to Jupiter 1111. You pick it up.
Yeah, it's I was just hearing practice gentleness with yourself. Be gentle to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break, and don't look back on this. I could have done this, and I know because of recent things in my life, we're losing abruptly the father of my children. Of all the things, I'm like I should have. Maybe if I would have done things differently, and I could have done everything differently and still had the same outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So pushing past the pain, sometimes you just have to release all the should haves. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about it now. So you need to be gentle with yourself, forgive yourself, be kind to yourself. Because when you're in that space, then you can be kind to others and have patience for others and have empathy for others. But you need to give yourself a break. Some of you you're just too hard on yourself. And it's the other side of having an excellent spirit. Because you have an excellent spirit of wanting to do well and doing the right thing. The trap of that is that in massive amount of pressure, then you say, oh, I missed it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say, okay, I might have missed it, but most of the time I'm pretty good. Most of the time I get it. And if you had those odds in Vegas, you will be a billionaire. So give yourself a break.
Yeah. My advice would be, I'm gonna quote like my dad, just go with the flow of things. Let things naturally ebb and flow. Come to you, go away from you, especially when you're talking about pain, whether what kind of form it comes from, or what's happening in the world, what's happening if you're going through grief, if you're going through not being with you in separation from your divine counterpart. Just naturally let things just flow. Feel it, observe it, let it go, let it flow through you. Let the emotions and the waves that come to you just flow, and let it come away from you, and then it draws to you, and just go with that energy and synergy that spirit lets the experience express itself to you, especially when you're talking about pushing through the pain. The issue is not to push, but just to let it happen. All right. So on that note, let's go and get here. If you want some more of that Jedi mind tricks from our own Kathy D, pineapplefishlifecoaching.com. If you want that workbook, we're going to push her. This time I'm pushing into that. Go to her website and go get that workbook that she says she has there that's going to help you with that good practice he said about how you can be able to get over things. Go to pineapplefishlifecoaching.com so you can get that. And she can also work with you if you're saying, yeah, I've been working, I still got that inner voice going on, I can't surpass that, I need somebody who is a twin flame that can help change and shift my mind. Go over there to Kathy D and let her work with you. Also, we got here our own Hawaiian goddess for this goldenlife.com, Golden Lifestyle Unlimited. She has there, if you love the meditations that she gives you, and please go to her website, please, please, please. Same thing, Golden Lifestyle Unlimited is Golden Lifestyle. If I did I say it right? Okay. So please make sure that you go there and look at all those meditations. She's giving out the good free stuff. But if you want to say, listen here, I need some one-on-one with her, please make sure that you go to her website and check that out. But she's got wonderful things that she can do. She believes in the yoni steaming, everything about womb healing, seeing about how you can clear it through your body. So please make sure that you go and check her out too. And we've got our own lovely Miss Jupiter 1111 for risewithjupiter.com. She's the chakra queen of them all. She can go and clear all that stuff so you can be able to get past the pain as well. So please make sure you go to her. And she's got all other stuff to help you to manifest. And you name it, she's got it all there on her website as well. And you know, she's also got her own YouTube channel. If you're not knowing her, because you know we're in union, half the people that's on mine is on hers, and we just bounce back and forth. But just in case you are a newbie and you're not familiar with Rise with her, please go to Jupiter 1111's a YouTube channel too, where she has her own special. It's 12 o'clock. You do your dailies, a high five at 5, and then you got.
So at 10 a.m. Central, it's a high vibe in 5, which is supposed to be 5 minutes, but sometimes it's not. Checking into the daily energy so we can leverage it, and then I'm calling it the Kinky Tarot at noon CST.
Yes, that's how much in union we are. It started with me, the McNasty cards. McNasty cards has ebbed and flowed. That started with the DM, and it has now went on and carried its own little kinky self, and McNasty all over the world. It's getting that energy so we can really see what's happening in the 3D with them. So if you want to also come over to my channel, DivineUnisouls11.co, I have also readings. Also, I talk to the past loved ones too. I do readings with that as well. That helps you to kind of help you know what's going on with your journey, and then look from it from their point of view. I also have, let me see, so many. I got my own also dailies as well. But also you already know all the good stuff. So here, but just don't forget about our program too, because a lot of you all, since we're saying push it past the pain, we could come up with a program with us from the Playground Experience. Kathy D and April Williams and myself can come up with a way of a package or a program that can be able to reach what things that you feel are areas that you think you need to work through, that you can't push past. Maybe you say, I don't want the pain, I got other areas. Guess what? We can handle that too. So make sure you go over to DivineUnisouls11.co and you go and check that out. And as always, remember to make sure that you click and share and then subscribe to this channel so you can be able to see great things that come from this Playground Experience as well. So do not forget that also we come on live. We do Q&A. We're going to have the lovely Jupiter 1111 that's going to join us again this Friday. It's 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. Hawaiian time is what? Is it 2 or 1:30?
Wait, what if we're doing the 30, it's 12:30, and if we're doing the
12:30. Okay, I won't get
to 1 o'clock.
Okay, all right, somewhere up in there, 12:31-ish. You're not gonna miss us because you know how we play in the sandbox. We're there for a while, so you won't miss too much anything. If you come at that time, whatever time, we'll be in the sandbox playing with you. So just to make sure that you come and whatever questions and things, come ready to ask us some questions too. But we're going to continue on this discussion about how you can push the pain. And I know you'll probably be really ready to ask how you can do that on your own specialized. So that's how you can get that. All right, let's get us on out of here. Let's go. I'll sign off. Sign up with you, Kathy D. Get us out of here.
Wishing you your best life ever. See you soon.
And April Williams.
Stay blessed. Stay golden.
All right. And 11.
May all your days be like days of heaven on the earth.
All right. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste. Namago. Mwah. All right. Love you. Oh, she's got the halo. Look at that.
Heaven on earth over here.
That's right.